Ladies and gentlemen, we have some more news on the Xbox One. I know that's surprising, isn't it? It seems that we can't go a day without Xbox One news, and this time we have confirmation of the price of the games, at least the first-party ones. They're going to be $60 US, or for those of you who live outside the US, it'll be roughly the same price of the Xbox 360/PlayStation 3 games are currently right now. So, for example, in the UK, that would be about £40. This is, as I've said, for first-party games, so if we're talking about EA, Activision, Capcom, and so forth, they can charge whatever they really like. We're not really sure whether this is in line with PlayStation 4 game pricing, because right now Sony haven't actually confirmed what they're going to be selling their games for. So you can't even get an idea, by the way, by going to like a pre-order page, because they're actually sticking up a really expensive pricing. For example, in the UK, it's anything from £54 to like £70 for a game. And so obviously even the bundles are really extortionate pricing as well, simply because, well, no one knows what they are, so they just want to put a high price on them just to make sure. In other words, they're putting in some contingency. So, is this a surprise to me? Not really. I mean, pretty much every console release in terms of generation, so in other words PS1 to PS2, the games have always roughly been around the same price, if you take into account inflation, of course. Simply because the production cost of games keeps going up, as they have to rely on volume. In other words, you have to sell a certain amount at a certain price to make that game profitable. Now, I don't know exactly how this is going to affect a third party. This is pure speculation, by the way, that's coming up. But in theory, at least, if they were to disable the trading of games on the Xbox One for a certain game, in theory, that game could be sold for a little bit cheaper, because obviously there's not the used market. On the other hand, due to rising production costs, and there is no getting away from the fact that games now cost a hell of a lot more than what they used to produce. And honestly speaking, that trend is not going to be changing anytime soon. If you look at titles such as, for example, The Last of Us and so forth, the marketing budgets alone are ridiculous. So obviously, cost of games is likely not to be going down. So I think that this is a reasonably good price point. We'll have to see just how gamers themselves handle it, of course. In my personal opinion, it's most likely that, well, third-party developers are going to be sticking to a roughly the same price point. There's a good point. There was actually a poll I saw. Now, just how accurate polls are is very difficult, of course, to ascertain, simply because you don't know the sample size often in terms of what demographics are actually answering the poll. But I've seen this on a couple of websites, so take it with a pinch of salt, but hey, it gives you some indication, and most people were saying that they're not really willing to pay more than what they currently are for games. And I suppose really when you think about it, that makes a certain level of sense. After all, if you've just bought a console, especially on launch, you don't want to then have to face the idea of paying like, you know, $10, $15 more for each of the games. I will, however, be curious that if a game does block trading, whether it will be possible for that game to be sold just a few bucks cheaper, because obviously they do, well, pretty much you have no choice if you want to play that game. Short of going around your friend's house every day to play it, the only other option, of course, is to cough up your money and to buy the new unit. But whether that actually comes to fruition or not, it's unknown. Of course, that is happening on PC. If you guys don't have a PC and you're not really familiar with Steam, you should go over to steampowered.com just for example, and you guys can check out the prices there. And of course, the summer sales and so forth are regular, and that's one of the reasons for it. Because you simply can't trade in the games. Anyway, I think that just about does it for this particular video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. It's fairly a brief one, I know, but regardless, hopefully I'll see you around soon. Take care, and you have a very good day. Bye for now.